Hey you guys, so tonight I want to talk to you about communication and relationships. It's something that I think a lot of us are focused on right now and have been for the last few months because we're either A, not seeing a lot of people that we had relationships with, or we're in close quarters with people we have relationships with, or both. And I think that a lot of what's happening in the world is amplifying either issues that we've already had within those relationships or issues we have within ourselves. And despite what anybody thinks of the goings on of the times we're in right now, it's a good lesson to self-reflect and work on ourselves, and you really can't go wrong in doing that. But it's also the other side of that is because there's a lot of fighting and arguing for this side or that for multiple reasons right now, a lot of people are being made to feel like they're wrong. So, and this is of no specific conversation I've seen, I'm telling you, within the last 2 days alone, 3 conversations. And finally I was like, you know what, I wanted to do this a while ago because, like I said a few videos back about the murder of George Floyd, I want to have peace. And the fact that there are dialogues being had about that, about coronavirus, about, multiple other things, it's encouraging to me. So, one thing that I will say is I'm all about positivity, okay? But there is such thing as toxic negativity, but there also is such thing as toxic positivity. And for me, I've learned that it boils down to timing. And what I mean by that is if there's something that's going on and it bothers you and, you pretend that it doesn't, or you don't immediately feel that it does, and you brush it off, and then 10 years later, you're still aggravated inside and negative, and it's just your way of life, that's a problem. And that tells me, because I'm notorious for being positive, that tells me that you didn't process what was going on. And we all go through this. Maybe not to the extent of like the however many years, but we all, try to just go on with life and, cope in an overly positive way sometimes. And it'll come back and bite us in the ass later in life, and we'll eventually have to deal with it. That's what I mean. So it's actually better. And I never viewed it this way until recently. But it's actually better if you allow yourself to rant and rave and vent, whether it's writing and burning or venting to somebody that you trust in the beginning, to get it out. Because when you're so emotional about it, you're not thinking clearly. You might still have the same conclusions after, but you have to get that emotion out. And it has to be safe, first of all. So I'm not in any way condoning, and I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are for this, but I'm in no way condoning the rioting at all, or any of the violence. But you really have to get out how you feel, and whether that is, like I said, venting, or, maybe exercising, doing something physical to physically move that energy to get it out, even if you're not vocalizing how you feel. You have to do something to get it out, because then it'll fester and, either it'll blow up down the line or it will actually manifest into something physical to the point where you don't even connect it. You might not even realize it's still bothering you, but yet you get very, very sick and something comes up. So, as much as me and a lot of other positive people have maybe had the thought that venting or getting angry will put you in a lower vibration, it's necessary for a time. There's a time and a place for it, especially if it's somebody that you trust, even if it's by yourself. You need to get that out. And then, like I said, you could still come to the same conclusions, but at least you're not holding that in and holding on to it and making it turn into something else, or turn into an angry pattern that you have where you get triggered over something else completely and you don't even connect it. Like the same thing with getting sick and not connecting it. You could just get triggered by something that doesn't even logically connect, but in your thought pattern, because you've held on to it and created those new thought patterns attached to it, you'll connect it. And that's not healthy. So it's better to get it out when you can. And, you might be new at this and something might have already festered for you for a few years and nothing has really happened recently that you can practice this on. It's still not too late. It's never too late to actually, start working on processing your emotions. That's what this is all about, processing your emotions. And I never realized until recently, getting passionate, I'm not even going to use the word angry, but getting passionate about something is good. It's a good thing. You might want to watch your blood pressure and all of that, to keep yourself healthy. But shying away from anger doesn't make that anger go away. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a house where the fights were so few and far between that every time there was a fight, I thought my parents were getting a divorce. Like, that's how few fights there were. I always thought it was like the end. It was like a bad thing. Maybe more frequent spats or arguments would be healthier for some people. It's all about you and your way of going about, your life. But I think universally, it is always better, even if you're not venting, to somehow always try to deal with what is going on. Then don't wait. Yeah, if you would like to, take a few minutes, cool off. But I'm talking like, don't just be like, oh, that doesn't bother me, and then, and then don't try to talk yourself out of it either. I'm notorious for doing this too, because I'll have my human emotions, but then I'm the empath, which is the fixer of problems for myself and others, and the coach, where I'll automatically try to fix before I process. And that's going to push against any emotions that you need to get out. Now, processing it can include, I've found, it can include things like meditation. If you don't want to do like the writing and burning or whatever, it can include meditation. Meditation isn't necessarily, I'm going to think happy thoughts, I'm going to think happy thoughts, I'm going to think happy thoughts. It's not necessarily that. It is good to get your breathing regulated and, your nervous system calmed down, but it also is good for processing those emotions too. If you meditate on your emotions instead of trying to push them away and just think the happy thoughts and do like the positive affirmations, it's actually really good for processing your emotions too. So don't be hard on yourself. And as hard as it is sometimes, especially if you're in close quarters, try not to be hard on others either. You're gonna, we're all not gonna agree on a lot of things right now, because a lot's going on. We're all we all have something else going on in our lives on top of what is going on in the world. And then we all have different life journeys. So those three things mixed together, you know what, let's just come together and help each other as best we can. Be peaceful. I have people who I've noticed, that have pretty much ghosted me. The door is always open for anybody. I know, like I said, we might all have something else going on right now, so I'm not trying not to look too into it. But this is the time that we should be coming together. And that's all, really. There's no reason why, if for no other reason, even for people that you don't necessarily like, you should come together, because it'll make the proverbial enemy shit themselves. That's what they don't want. That's why all of this is happening in the world. That's why it's like bang, 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 one after the other. One thing after the other is happening. And it's to keep us divided. And sadly, in some cases, it's working. But I refuse to let it. Alright, so don't be so hard on yourself. You have a right to your feelings. You also have to be responsible for your actions, like I said, with the violence and everything. And turning that into other crimes that are being committed. But, yeah. But everybody's feelings are valid. Whether it's about this or whether this is just making you upset about something else, because there's a lot of byproducts that are happening with this. Like, there was protests about reopening the economy that nobody was okay with, and now they were suddenly okay with these protests. The nursing homes, specifically in New York, people dying in there, the protests being okay, but graduations not being okay. It's a lot of hypocrisy back and forth. And a lot of people are upset about a lot of things, and I understand being upset, being angry, all of it. But make sure you take care of you. And make sure you take care of the people that you care about. Because if they're coming to you, it's because they trust you with it. And I'm also going to say, don't be afraid. When I say, cool off first, don't be afraid to have this be a teachable moment for other people. Even in uncomfortable moments. If you're that vulnerable and you trust. I've seen, like I said, 2 just today. 2 different podcasts. And it was I think it was good. Because it went beyond what's going on. It showed that we're all human. We all have feelings. And I think that I think that's what this boils down to if I'm being honest, is everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard. And I think that a lot of what happened, a lot of what's happening now has to do with what was happening before. It's all a culmination. of people and their emotions being heightened. So, take care of yourself, take care of those around you. If you can't cope with taking care of others around you, make sure you take care of yourself first and then be willing to listen. Make sure that if you're going to talk to somebody, you let them know whether or not, like me specifically, make sure you let people who are in the service field know whether or not you even want our advice, because most of the time if you're just venting, you don't. And I have a hard time with that. Like I said, I want to fix everybody. But yeah. So this is just my 2 cents on the emotional side of the world today. I think that we're all going through a lot. We'll all get through it. We just have to stick together and not let it tear us apart. Okay? So, I hope you guys have a good day. Please like this video if you actually like it. I know I was probably a little hard for some people. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section. Share this video if you think it would be helpful for somebody. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and subscribe too if you haven't already. Thanks.